For 30 years, a thriving flea market operated on the corner of 8th and Florida Avenue, Shaw neighborhood of Washington, D.C. Every weekend and sometimes during the week, all different types of residents would come to buy fresh produce, to look at used clothes, to exchange electronics and bicycles, and to listen to music from the go-go store across the street. In 2014 or 2015, a brand new development was built very quickly in place, displacing this community flea market. The effect of this was tremendous. This new apartment complex featured a 50-foot tall mural of a Marie Antoinette figure wearing a wig and the prominent words, "We have arrived." The effect on the neighborhood was startling and felt most by the youth and the families. In response to the rapid displacement of the flea market in the neighborhood by the apartment complex, and also out of empathy and solidarity with the youth and children that were being displaced during the global refugee crisis in 2015 and 2016, the children of the Shaw Community Center worked with a local artist and fashioned clay boats which they would place surrounding the entrance to the apartment complex and the stores that surrounded it. Learning about the historic actions of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they organized themselves to walk in rows and complete this nonviolent direct action. As they placed the boats in front of the Shea, the concierge came out from under this huge ghastly figure in the mural and aggressively approached the youth initially, and seeing how they were organized and purposeful, instead directed his anger at the inconvenience towards me, angrily asking me to remove the clay boats. I pointed out that this was a public action and that it was on a public sidewalk, and that if he felt his duty was to police the action that was happening there, that he could remove the clay boats himself or even step on them if he felt it was important. After the youth had finished this solemn action under the imperious gaze of the mural at the Shea, they began to walk across the street, across 7th Street, Shaw Main Streets, to the go-go store, which was on the other side. As they approached the go-go store, the owners and people that worked there welcomed the youth in. They met them with the go-go music, which they turned up the volume, and the youth had a spontaneous outpouring of self-expression there and a day party in front of the go-go store. Witnessing the contrast and reaction that the youth received in doing their public art, being rebuffed by the concierge of the Shea, and then going across the street to the go-go store where they were welcomed with a warm, spontaneous day party, I realized that 7th Street, the Shaw Main Streets, had become a cultural meridian. In fact, some of the footage that was taken of the youth celebrating at the go-go store after their solemn nonviolent direct action in 2016 is what made the Don't Mute DC hashtag go viral many years later. I think that what we saw there in this crux and crucible at the intersection of 7th and Florida Avenue, Shaw Main Streets, and Boundary Street was just the first of many actions that we'll see in establishing a movement of free speech and self-determination for communities across the country.